So let's start with our PG business credit. Lots more, not an infinite number of them, but there are several more PG, personally guaranteed business credit lines that are available in the marketplace. Many, 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 many more of them, right? They are harder to get today than they were 5 and 10 years ago, but there's a lot more of these PG business lines of credit available than the no PG business lines of credit. And over here with the PG business credit lines, history has shown that it was primarily your income and personal credit that was kind of the pathway to get to them, to get to those credit facilities. One of the things we've talked about here on this channel quite a few times before is one of the recent developments in the last 18 to 24 months is that these PG business credit lines, more and more of the lenders are now using the business credit in addition to the personal credit, and the level of weight placed on the business credit or the importance that the business credit plays in the underwriting decision-making process has grown dramatically. So you've heard me say before, man, a few years ago, we would have never seen someone denied for a business credit card with a personal guarantee because of an issue with their business credit. That never happened a few years ago, but we are seeing that happen today with some regularity, meaning lenders now are saying, okay, the personal credit's good, but there's these issues with this issue or these issues with the business credit, so you're denied. That is happening today and has been a recent phenomenon in the last 1 to 2 years. And remember, we're talking about, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications every single month, and we capture denial letters, and so we have data to verify that. That's not some guy saying we did it 1 or 2 times and here's what happened. Hundreds and hundreds of applications every single month where those clients give us their approval and denial letters. So we have the denial letters that show which credit bureau was pulled, the denial reason. We have empirical knowledge and evidence of that being the case. So when someone says, oh, it's different than that, or that's not how it works, then first of all, I'd love to talk to them, because if they have data, empirical data that we don't have, man, would I love to have that conversation. I'd be buying them dinner and everything, right? Most of the time when I hear other information that is either shallow into the pool kind of stuff that doesn't have any real substance to it, or when it's just flat out erroneous and incorrect, it normally isn't coming from someone who says, here's where the empirical data came from. It's usually someone who them and maybe a couple other people or a few other people went through the process and here's what we found. Well, you'll never get anywhere here at LendCred if your data pool sample is 5 or 10 or 20 people. You're barely going to be listened to if that's the size of your data pool that is causing you to create this conclusion that you're now trying to tell us, this is how it works, right? So all that being said, those personally guaranteed business credit lines oftentimes come with 0% introductory offers. They come with, interest rates that can be anywhere in the, 7, 8, 9, 10% on the low end to, 14, 16, 17, 18% on the higher end. And this is, again, upon origination, right? Rates can go lower and higher based on your management of the credit facility. And you generally have some cash advance options, and you generally have balance transfer options and things like that. Now, we're not big advocates of taking cash advances most of the time because of how excessive the pricing can be, but those are how those PG business credit lines work. When you come over here to the no PG credit lines, those three or those few that I've had, none of them had 0% introductory offers. None of them had cash advance options. And all of them had higher interest rates, sometimes in the 20%, 20s upon origination. And no, not all of them, but some of them. So they're not real comparable when you talk about the terms. Now we could go use, we could go hand somebody, at Lowe's, as we're doing the rehab project, we could go hand somebody at Lowe's either one of those credit cards, and they'll process the transaction. So in the sense of using a credit card with a merchant, there really is no difference. For the two of you that said there's no difference or whatever, in that sense, there's no difference. But in terms of kind of usability and terms, there's quite a few differences. Lisa, I forget what you said that I said was incorrect. Do you mind refreshing my memory? I'm like, my train of thought lost it.
I was mentioning business credit having a personal guarantee on it. It's going to end up on the personal side and
Correct.
that
Correct. So
portion of it.
yep. So the PG business credit lines, the majority of lenders that we're going to work with in that area are not going to report to your personal credit. There, so that creates the separation between your personal and business credit. So remember, there is, and very, very, very commonly can be and is, separation between business and personal credit when there's a PG. You can absolutely separate business and personal credit if you're giving a PG. No problem there. It's also been, widely reported that when you go into default on something you personally guarantee, that then the gloves can come off, and then those credit lines those lenders can choose to report those items to the credit report, to the personal credit report. That is true. But I hear people say this, and this is not true. I hear people say, but if you default, they'll definitely report to your personal credit report. And that is patently false. That is not correct in any way, shape, or form. So you don't go into default, right? But when you go into default, it could cause one or more of those lenders to report that negative activity to your personal credit report. It does not happen all of the time, and it probably, I say probably because remember, there's not empirical evidence for scores and scores of clients to report back, but it probably does not happen the majority of the time. But it absolutely can happen, and it absolutely does happen, but it doesn't always happen, and it may not even be the majority of the time. But of course, that depends on the lender and kind of the seriousness of the default and so on and so forth, right?